Hello everyone! A couple of quick warnings before we start. This video is going to be very Connor centric, and I do apologise. And also, this week's theme is going to be very VidCon centric, I imagine. Because Tyler and Rose both have videos this week, and they both went to VidCon. So, let's see how that goes. So, as Connor said this week, our theme is summing up of a recent event. Now, this could be something random, but I'm guessing people go for things that have changed their lives or improved or lifetime experiences, that sort of thing. Because I know a lot of people this week who actually have videos have gone through something very recently. This year has been amazing so far. That's coming from flying for the first time back in April, and of course I went to America and I went for the wrestling, which is not a lot of people's cup of tea, but it is mine. And I had one of the times of my life. Hung around with 3 great friends. We did so much. There's a link down there to some daily vlog stuff that shows what we got up to. It was amazing. It's a time I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. Even if I went to America now every year between now and dying, that's still going to stick in my mind as one of the greatest trips. Aside from seeing an event with 80,000 people in a huge arena, music booming, as well as seeing all the culture of New Orleans has to offer and types of architecture on the buildings, or going on a swamp tour and seeing all the outlying areas and seeing the alligators, or going on ghost walks and hearing all the folk tales and the ghost stories that the place is famous for. Or just the atmosphere as well. Bourbon Street was amazing. Just walking down, people drinking everywhere. It's like in England, that is very much illegal, drinking on the street. But apparently they do it there. So aside from New Orleans, what else have I done? Well, ever since New Orleans, I met with Connor in New Orleans as well, and that was a fantastic experience in itself. That's definitely the furthest I've ever travelled to meet someone I've met just on the internet. I mean, to get to know someone, you do know, obviously, you get to know people quite well over this medium of video and text and blah, but to meet someone in person and to see what they're like and how they tick, it's brilliant. There were like 4 or 5 hours I think we spent, which it was awesome. But then we said about he comes over to England, we should do something. Now, for me, I assumed that was going to be a day trip somewhere. I'd just meet him in London, but it evolved into so much more. Again, daily vlog down there, links to all that from this month, which details some of the stuff Connor and I got up to. We went to Scarborough, which is one of England's oldest seaside towns, may even be the oldest. And you got to see all the cliffs and the scenery there. And then we went to the Lake District over at Coniston, where there's a massive mountain, about 2,500 feet, 3,000 feet, something like that. And we climbed that and we saw the view from there, and we spent a couple of days walking around different cities and soaking up the different architecture and the different sights and the sounds. And like, each city has its own character. Even though they're massive cities, you think they're faceless, but they're not. They all have just a different feel, really. I mean, I've been around Birmingham and Manchester more time than I care to admit, because I spend a lot of time there because I have friends that live there, and there's a lot goes on in Manchester, like the Comic-Con that I've attended a few times. I've been to one in Birmingham as well as the wrestling has been to both of those. So, and I've got friends living in both, as I said, who go to university there and who just live nearby. So they're good meeting points. But to be able to do it with someone who hasn't seen this sort of culture before, because our cities are very different to America's. I only got to experience New Orleans, but New Orleans is vastly different from anything we have here. But Manchester and Birmingham, 2 massive cities. Birmingham is England's 2nd city after London, but they're so different. If you went to Liverpool, it'd be different again. And you go to Leeds, it'd be different again. And York is massively different. And Hull's massively different. And it's that diversity. Like, the buildings, some of the buildings in Hull are older than America's history. At least modern history, since the settlers went over. And that's mind-blowing, really. But to experience that through someone else's eyes, who's never experienced that before, it was great. It was an honour, I could say, because it opened my eyes to look things that I've taken for granted in the past. I mean, sure, big buildings, big deal. But then when you see somebody else marvelling over them and just enjoying being around the sights and the sounds That's special. A bit like Conor, that's special. Wow. That sounded insulting. Perfect. And I think that's going to be it for this year, to be honest. There's nothing else that's going to happen for me, but this has been one of the best years of my life, without a doubt, and it's only halfway through. Obviously, my 25th birthday was spent with Conor as well in Scarborough, so that increased it a lot. I mean, you've heard me say before what I think about Conor and how great I think he is, and, you know, he's a funny guy, and he just, to be around him is kind of... I reckon I'd feel honoured to be around any of you guys off NFI, to meet you and to spend time with you, but to say that I spent a lot of time getting to know Conor before, so that I kind of knew what he was like, and now we, you know, travelled around together for the weekend. I want to have that with more people. I want to learn how great people are, because I know you guys are great, but to spend time together doing things, it just adds the next level, I guess. I've met Niall too, and when I met Niall, it shocked me. He's so different from how the videos portray, but also he's the same. But Niall's a different kettle of fish for a different day. I don't like fish. But then that leads me on to summing up NFI, I guess. I mean, we've been going 9 months now, I think, since late October of last year. But we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of NFI already. And to say what we've accomplished, we've gotten together, I think I've said before, about 35 vloggers, which is mad, really. Considering this is only supposed to last 2 weeks and there's supposed to be like 4 people involved. Which is like me, Niall, Elliot and Meg, I think, was the first ones. Oh, and Sam. Dr. Sam Tam, the guy you see kicking around on again from Yorkshire as well. But it's evolved into this community that, okay, it wouldn't exist if not for Nerdfighteria and the Vlog Brothers and YouTube. But all these circumstances have come together to make something genuinely amazing. And to know each and every person in NFI, to see the different video styles as well. I mean, it's not just all about the videos, it's community. That's the best part about it. That was what the intention was. Admittedly, as I mentioned in another video, like Nerdfighters Info, wasn't NFI back then, just Nerdfighters Info was meant to be that info for Nerdfighters based on the name. But it didn't really pan out. I don't know why, I'm glad it didn't, because it led to this amazing thing that is definitely, without sounding too cheesy, NFI, Nerdfighters Info, Nerdfighters in general has changed my life this last year. I've been a Nerdfighter for 5-6 years now. And I've been involved in the community. Obviously, running the name, you've got to be quite involved and taking part in discussions and stuff. But this last year, obviously, I've networked with more people, and the channel's growing. 435 subscribers last time I looked, which was, I was surprised when we hit 300. Not so long ago, actually. So the sub count has gone up and up and up. But it's not important. The people are important. Obviously, the people who interact with us in comments and stuff, they're important. I enjoy people becoming part of the community. That's what the aim of NFI was, and that is still, always will be the aim of NFI. If it somehow becomes a multi-million subscriber base, which it's never going to be, but I'd still focus more on involving with people and getting to know other people rather than just putting a video up out there to get views, to get money, because it's certainly not how I work. So to sum up this year already, I've had an amazing trip to America. I've had probably some of the best times in my life just with Conor these last few weekends. Scarborough, which I never mentioned earlier, but Scarborough, I've spent every year of my life there. Growing up, that was our holiday destination. My mum couldn't afford to take us anywhere abroad or anything, so she took us to Scarborough every year for a break, be it 4 days or a week. And I greatly enjoyed it, and I've still got a soft spot for the place even now. That's why I try and go every year, even if I go on my own like I did a month or two ago. But to experience that with Conor, there's something personal about that I'm bringing someone from my current life, my new life, or online, into my old life and growing up. It's like it's a meeting of two different areas of my life, and it's phenomenal. It's like the same, I suppose, for Birmingham and Manchester. Not as much, because it's a much more recent thing that I've travelled there. But to bring one facet of my life together with another, it's amazing. So, thanks for letting me experience that with you, Conor. It was speechless. And thank you to Martin, Richard and Adele, who I went to America with, and particularly Martin, who, if it wasn't for him, I couldn't have gone, because work had hit a slump and I wasn't getting as many hours and I couldn't afford it, but well, Martin boosted me basically. He paid the rest too and just said give it back when you can, and because of him I got to experience it. So for that I'll never forget Martin either. And finally, thank you to everyone involved in Nerdfighters Info, from the guys who have been here from the beginning like Niall and Meg, who have helped build it on the foundations, or to the people who vlog all the time, every week, every 2 weeks, like Nathan and Connor and Sam and Elliot, who pops in now and again through his busy schedule. Even those that have guested, such as Eric, my buddy Eric, who I met through the Ning, who should be back at some point, and to DK, who guested on Sunday, who is definitely someone I look up to on YouTube. So it's an honour to work with him, as well as a lot of you. You've all brought something different to my vlogging style as well as my life. So I thank you all, NFI. It's been a hell of a ride, and I hope it continues to do so. And Elliot, bro, I'll see you tomorrow.
So you've just made it through Dave's whole video. Well done. You win the internet.